The camera pans over various emergency kit items. Text on screen reads, "Building a preparedness kit with special guest Coby Livingstone." Video by the National Weather Service in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Coby Livingstone with the New Mexico Disability Emergency Planning Advisory Council appears on screen in front of a stucco background.
So I'm Coby Livingstone. My dog Lyra and I are going to give you a few tips or some ideas to go in a go bag.
Coby's golden retriever service animal, Lyra, who is at Coby's feet, is shown on screen. The camera pans back to Coby, who is holding a black backpack.
You can build your own. You can buy these things too, but it's just as easy to customize it yourself. First of all, choose something that is lightweight, and we really suggest that you use a backpack because then it allows you to be hands-free. Think about, what would I need? What are the essential things to be able to survive on my own with my dog for 1 or 2 days? Think about, what if you couldn't speak for some reason? Make sure that your name is on the backpack. You could even write it inside the backpack. Make sure that the name of your dog is there. It's important to have an ID. Have some sort of container that will keep a few bucks and your ID safely and protected from the elements.
A graphic is shown that has an image of a backpack on the left-hand side. Text on screen summarizes some of Coby's tips for your preparedness kit, including having your name and the name of your service animal on your bag, and including your ID and a container to protect important documents. Coby appears on screen again in front of a stucco background. She is now holding an example of an important document that is held in a Ziploc bag.
And have emergency information in a printed form in a plastic bag. You want to put down an emergency contact that's not in the geographic area where you live. Have information about who's the veterinarian for your dog, who's your primary doctor, what kinds of medications must you have every day. Put those in a plastic bag. Have an extra prescription that you can send out and get the medication that you must have.
A graphic is shown that has an image of a backpack on the right-hand side. Text on screen summarizes some of Coby's tips for your preparedness kit, including having emergency contact information for you and your pets or service animals, as well as any important medical information. Coby appears on screen again in front of a stucco background. She is now holding an example of a meal kit.
Having your own meal kit is, I think, a really important thing. Be in charge of your own meal kit. And have a spare dog dish.
Coby puts down the meal kit and is now holding a first aid kit.
Find an emergency kit or make your own, a first aid kit that will repair simple cuts and contusions. If you need devices that need electricity, somehow keep a spare of that, or think about, how am I going to get those devices when I'm at a shelter? Plan ahead. Have an extra pad of paper and a 2020 pen and maybe a permanent marker.
A graphic is shown that has an image of a backpack on the left-hand side. Text on screen summarizes some of Coby's tips for your preparedness kit, including having backup batteries for electronics and alternative ways to communicate if necessary. Coby appears on screen again in front of a stucco background. She is now holding a permanent marker.
You can write your name on your forearm in case you're unable to speak. Maybe a phone number. Use the permanent marker to write the name of your dog on his back or her back.
A road that has been washed away during a flood event is shown. Text on screen reads, "What else can I do to protect myself in case of an emergency?" Coby appears on screen again in front of a stucco background. She is pulling a folding cane out of her backpack.
And I'm going to have a spare cane. The ID canes are really lightweight, and of course they're foldable. So think about getting one of these inexpensive, skinny, lightweight folding canes that you can put into your emergency go bag. Have an extra pair of sunglasses. have a hat. Have a durable hat that is going to protect you.
A graphic is shown that has an image of a backpack on the right-hand side. Text on screen summarizes some of Coby's tips for your preparedness kit, including items of clothing such as sunglasses and a hat that can protect you. Coby appears on screen again in front of a stucco background. She is holding a folded red poncho.
Carry around a foldable, easy to put on, skinny, lightweight poncho, rain poncho. I also would encourage you to find a source for space blankets, I'll call it, where it keeps you warm, keeps you cool, keeps you out of the elements.
The same graphic that included sunglasses and a hat is shown again and now includes a poncho and a space blanket. Coby appears on screen again in front of a stucco background. She is holding a mini flashlight.
How about a flashlight? Not necessarily for you if you're totally blind, but it's a signaling device. It's something that you can turn on and, wave around in the air and say, here I am. Speaking about communication during emergency, think about a whistle that you can alert people. And if you can't speak, this alerts people. Have extra garbage bags that you can use for a variety of purposes. Have whatever toys or grooming brushes that are going to help your dog stay calm and at least in some sort of familiar routine. This is something else I want you to really consider. Work gloves that would protect your skin and your hands.
A graphic is shown that has an image of a backpack on the left-hand side. Text on screen summarizes some of Coby's tips for your preparedness kit, including a whistle for communication, garbage bags, essentials for your pet or service animal, and work gloves for your protection. Coby appears on screen again in front of a stucco background. She is holding a small book from the New Mexico Disability Emergency Planning Advisory Council that is useful in planning for emergencies.
Plan about what would you do during the disaster. What do you do to prepare for after the disaster? What kind of financial documents will you need? How do you prepare to be able to get started again after a horrendous emergency in your city, in your community? For information that you can get particular to your city or community or your state, go to www.ready.gov. Thank you so much for your attention.
The camera pans over various emergency kit items. Text on screen reads, Building a Preparedness Kit with Special Guest Coby Livingstone, video by the National Weather Service in Albuquerque, New Mexico.